This is Charlie Parsons for the Stomping Ground, powered by Wow Hydrate and live on DAZN. I've got the main man. He's not got the vape. He has got a new microphone installed for these interviews, though. He has got the vape as well. Of course, he has. Mr. Gareth A Davies. How are you, sir?
I'm good. I've experimented with lots of microphones down the time. My Yeti is packed in on me.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Looks like R2D2, doesn't it? From Star Wars. These things are a little bit passe now, but I haven't been using it. It's been broken, and as many of your dedicated fans have said, there's my didgeridoo right there, by the way. There's as many of your great fans have said down the years, how disgraceful it is that people don't have quality microphones. Quite pleased with this one.
This one's good. Little ASMR thing, Gareth. Do you know what ASMR is?
No, you tell me.
We won't go down that loophole. It's where people like make noises really closely into the microphone, but it's a bit weird, to be honest.
What is it not coming through very well?
Oh, it is coming through. I was just talking about ASMR, which is some. We'll chat about that another day. I'm going to disclaim something because the last time we caught up on Zoom. Now, as you know, the Zooms that we do are usually when we're working from home or something. So
Yeah.
last time I've come out of the shower, I've spoke to you, and the trim's looking like a bowl, and everyone's commenting saying I've got a bowl. So I'd just like to disclaim to the people watching, these are not days off, but days from home, and I've just jumped out the shower and I've stuck a hoodie on. So please do not be saying I've got a bowl haircut. Not that I really care, but I'm just
You've
disclaiming.
always got a bowl haircut.
Oh, Gareth.
You led me into that one though. You almost wanted
Yeah,
me
I
to
had,
say
I had
it.
no leg to stand
You've
on.
got a D'Artagnan, lovely D'Artagnan beard
It's
and
not
a
great, but
little tickly moustache, and then you've got the bowl haircut, which
the little
it's just modern
combo.
style. It's you're rocking the bowl. That's
My
it.
guy. My guy.
It's a day off for me as well, actually. Today,
Oh, nice.
yeah, I'm waiting for that. I'm gonna have a 3 hour bike ride today. So
Hours.
hmm?
3 hours.
Well, I'll do about yeah, because I'll stop and have coffee halfway, and
Very nice.
I'll probably do 20 miles today. But yeah, it's as you know, you've been for your run this morning, yeah?
Haven't, I'm injured.
Are you? What happened then?
I don't know. I went to the physio yesterday. They're
Hmm.
either going to love this or hate this, where we just chat and talk about things that aren't really relevant to sport. But you can always skip forward if you're moaning. If you're one of them people having an angry, oh,
Why are you having a go at your subscribers
I'm not having a
today?
go at my subscribers. I'm just saying when we talk about life, sometimes some of them are like, I wish they'd just skip to the boxing chat, and there will be a time and a place for that. There's like some runner's tendon injury that I've done, but if you
Okay,
don't know,
sorry
I
to hear
went
that.
to Tunisia this weekend to run with Hardest Geezer, the guy who's running the length of Africa. I'm joining
Oh,
him.
what, the guy with the ginger
Yeah,
beard?
I'm
Hey,
joining him
no, I
at
watch
some
him.
point.
No, is that the Welsh guy?
No, he's from England actually, but
In
he
Bristol or somewhere?
no, no, he's from Worthing. Worthing? Uh,
Right.
Woking. He's from
Is
Woking.
that the one who's going through absolute agony at times? He doesn't know if he can do it and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's
it's
been
very
running for
interesting.
like he went out there at 23. He's now 25.
It's
Uh,
unbelievable.
and I'm joining him at the finish line, but I want to make sure
Oh,
he
fantastic.
runs. We're going to document it on the channel, so I'm excited
Oh,
for
that's a great invite to go and do.
it.
Fantastic. He's wow, he's I just it's incredible what people put themselves through
It is
sometimes, which
mad.
segues very nicely into the weekend, doesn't it?
Well, that does indeed, because let's talk about that fight. I dropped Fabio Wardley a WhatsApp and I said, "How are you feeling?" And he put, "Like I've been punched in the face for 12 rounds." I mean, that just sums it up. We see the blood on the canvas afterwards. Gareth, it was an absolute war.
Yeah, it was, and it had, there's lots of all British, not necessarily heavyweight, British heavyweight title fights, but there's been loads of great fights between British heavyweights that we've enjoyed, all British clashes, from going back down the time, the famous ones, Bugner and Joe Bugner, who was a kind of naturalized Brit here, against Henry Cooper. It's counted as like an all British clash, and wishes he'd never beaten Henry Cooper because everyone hated him afterwards, Sir Henry. David Hay and Derek Chisora, Frank Bruno and Lennox Lewis.
You stick Joshua White in there?
Yeah, Joshua White in there as well. Joshua and um, Joshua White, White and Chisora. There's been so many great. I mean, to be honest, Saturday night reminded me a little bit of the Parker White fight, and Fabio in lots of ways reminds me. Certainly, the dog in him, that great dog he's got, that big dog in there coming out all the time. Great man, lovely man. But when he fights, man, he's got a dog in him, and he reminds me of Dillian. And you know, the end of that fight was on Saturday night, Sunday night rather, was reminiscent of Joseph Parker and Dillian White at the end of their fight, where they literally had nothing left and could have gone either way at the end, and they're hunched over, bent over double because they've given their all in the ring. And we have to appreciate what it's taken out of them when they have these kind of contests. They do it for themselves, but they do it because of their pride and their courage and their athleticism and their, all those qualities that we love about fighters and we love about our sport. And the reason why we're still enthusing on it, what is it, 4 days later? So,
Yeah.
and I found myself talking with many people this week, whether it be when I'm out and about or whether it is with colleagues in the industry or everyone wants to talk about it, you know. And it was a magnificent festival of heavyweight fighting.
I think there's a couple of things we can take out of it as well. Lovely to see the O2 packed again for British boxing. That was great. The atmosphere was obviously marvelous. You had the Peckham lot in there. You had the Albanians in there. You had Ben Whitaker's crowd. You had Callum Simpson's lot from
You had
Barnsley.
Burton-on-Trent and Derby there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then I suppose on the fight itself, it's funny because obviously you can really see the pedigree in the fight from Frazer Clarke in that he was obviously the boxer of the two. But like you say, Fabio just had that dog in him, and there were times where necessarily he was being out jabbed or whatever, but he would always come in and it would be the looping big shots, and they would always hurt Frazer Clarke in there.
Yeah, he's always able to find something, isn't he? Those flurries, those attacks. And you just wondered, it was a seesawing ding dong contest with different levels and stages of ascendancy for both men. I thought, as you say, Frazer Clarke's boxing skills are very impressive. He reset a lot. When he was hurt, he found his way out of it.
They
Uh,
recovered very well.
oh no, he's got an amazing physique, an amazing chin. I mean, it never let up, did it? When you think back, it was just exhausting. And it was edge of your seat stuff. I mean, obviously, I was involved in the commentary for Talk Sport at the time, and you know, as an observer, where you're giving your notes or your thoughts in your head in the split second that things are happening, it's very thrilling, and you know, whether they want to go through that again, and that probably will be a very similar fight second time around because styles make fights, and they've got a great clash of styles, and you know, there's probably a 40,000 crowd that would go to Portman Road, Ipswich Town's football ground in the summer to do that. It's worthy of a fight on those big cards in Saudi Arabia, the rematch. There's so many options for them. There's Joe Joyce out there for either man as well, if they wanted to fight them. I know I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but it was a spectacular festival of heavyweight fighting, as I said, and you know, one of the great heavyweight clashes that we've seen in a very long time. And the O2 seems to bring that out in people. I had Wardley just shading it. You know, again, and I was questioning the 115, 112 card, Charlie, to Frazer, given that he had 2 points deducted. But then I spoke to people like Barry Jones, who's a very astute observer on boxing this week for Talksport for our Fight Night Extra show, and he said, "Well, no, I do see it. I do see that because there were some incredibly close rounds in there. You know, what the draw did was enhance the beef, if you like, and
Yeah.
enhance the fight."
I was going to say at the end of the fight, I didn't score it round by round, but I had a bit of a feeling. I said to the boys at ringside, I said, I feel like we could end up seeing a draw here because it just the whole way through. I think, you know, maybe on round some of the cleaner work was done by Frazer, but with the point deducted and the knockdown, you can definitely see how it would be a draw. I suppose it always leaves not a sour taste as such, but everyone always wants a victor. You know, Fabio and Frazer. Fabio goes back the champ, but it's not a win. And obviously, Frazer doesn't quite get the belt, but it's not a loss. I mean, like we say, it does tee up a rematch, but you're going to imagine Fabio's nose is going to need some work doing because that's been busted in his last couple of fights quite badly and seems to be
Yeah.
opening more every time. Looks like they could be out for a little while. I know you mentioned summer, but it would have to maybe be more September time, really, and even that would be pushing it. Do you not think?
Yeah, that's 5 months. Yeah, yeah. But I mean, um, I think if they want to do the rematch, look, I spoke to Frazer afterwards. He came into I went to the kind of after party, if you like, at the Intercontinental Hotel next to the O2, and it was a big crowd because it was impossible to get away from there. It was like gridlock. Um, and the reception for him when he walked into the bar was extraordinary, as it was for Frazer, as it was for Fabio. And I did say to him, your stock's really risen. Both men's stock has risen for the things that they delivered, what they left in the ring. They left so much in there, by the way, that neither man had enough left in him to finish the other at the end, did they? Because you were watching it thinking one big, solid, powerful, accurate, precise punch now could finish either man, but neither of them had it, but they had enough of that survival instinct to get through. I mean, again, hats off to both men. But I said to Frazer, your stock's gone up. And he said, well, no, not really. But I said, Frazer, that reception you got when you walked in here tonight is where you will get that you will get now wherever you walk, whether it be down the road in Burton or Trent, whether it be down the road in Tottenham Court Road in London, whether it be on the South Bank, whether you're walking through Vegas, that is how people will view you now. And his stock has awesomely risen. So too Fabio, in this exactly the same way. Do we want them to do it again? We do. Is it good for their own health? Probably not. But these are warriors, and these are guys who, at the end of the day, comported themselves brilliantly in the lead up to the fight. They sold it enough. The memes with Frazer in the pram and Ben Shalom behind him, all of that kind of stuff. Fabio's style. Dillian White there with Fabio, as his kind of mentor, if you like. It all adds to the storyline. I'd like to see them fight again. It's a good fight for them, but they both belong in that top 20 Super League heavyweight mix right now, as does Dillian, and I'm sure you'll come on to it.
Well, yes, I suppose that would be the perfect time to pick up on that one then. Joseph Parker's incredible call out video. It's like we've got prime Joseph Parker of lockdown back when he was creating those really fun videos. He wants the Dillian White fight. I think everyone on social media loves it. Dillian's back. He actually looked, I mean, I know you can't really tell when the geezer's wearing a big jacket and stuff like that, but I thought he looked pretty lean and in pretty decent shape. Obviously, he had his outing not too long ago, so he can't take loads from it. But we understand that I think he's just ready to go now.
Well, listen, my feeling is it's almost a fight that Dillian can't say no to. It's the
Yeah, I
perfect
agree with that. Yeah.
it's the perfect reintroduction of him into the big heavyweight mix. Parker's probably number 4 in the world right now, probably be seen as quite a big favourite this time around. Parker wants to right the wrongs. He got his little views in on the video. That whatever he said, whatever he meant, or whatever he said, he didn't mean
Want
it.
you back for good.
He wants him back for good. He wants to right the wrongs. So take that, Dillian White.
Oh,
It was
Gareth.
go on. Yeah, I know, but no, but it's but they showed the head clash, they showed the knockdown, they showed him coming back at the end. Parker, it's perfect. It's absolutely perfect. And Parker obviously is waiting for the big fight right now. I think it's fair to rank him number 4 in the world. 2 phenomenal victories for him in his last 2 outings, 5 in 13 months. One of those was against a cruiserweight, but he's done the right thing because Dillian, I cannot see Dillian saying no to it.
No, I agree. Especially over in one of those big Saudi undercards.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. I mean,
That not even end up on the 5v5.
yeah, it could, it could, Indeed. Yeah, it could, because we haven't had them announced yet.
Oh,
That could be His Excellency's fight. Listen, there's those cards have 9 to 10 fights on them, don't they? So we've got Beterbiev and Bivol as the main event. We've got
I
5.
think that this 5v5 is happening, and that's the main event still, isn't it?
Yeah, but I get it. I mean, it really is. I
Oh,
mean,
of course.
you've got to remember that we're going through an what I see as an unprecedented time right now, with 4 undisputed fights inside a month. I mean, it's just extraordinary, with Inoue and Lewis Neary, and or in the right order, Canelo and Munguia, Lewis Neary, and the monster Inoue, and then Fury and Usyk and Beterbiev and Bivol. I mean, it's unbelievable, really. And as I've predicted on William Hill all year, with Lee Phelps, 2024 could be one of the greatest years we've ever seen in boxing. No, really, one of the seminal years in the history, and as a landmark, and I've annotated certain years. First Black American, African American heavyweight champion of the world in Jack Johnson, back in it was at 1912, I think it was, and then 1920 with Jack Dempsey and George Charpentier, first $1 million gate. And then you go to this, the rise of, the great heavyweights in the 70s and the kings in the 80s, the 4 kings, welterweight to middleweight. And then, the Tyson era, Lennox Lewis, and then into this era. I mean, my word, we're very lucky right now. We need to, because there's a lot of complainers, because boxing's a sport of opinions, Charlie. There's always a lot of there has to be a lot of negative fluidity as well, because for every positive you can talk about, there's a negative, and it's just the way boxing is. There's a lot of opinions. So, but right now, if you haven't got an opinion that boxing isn't in a great place, not in every single aspect of it, then you see the glass as half full, I'm afraid, half empty rather than half full.
On that topic, I'm seeing people sort of hit back at Fury Usyk undercard criticism. Now, I don't know whether I'm sleeping under a rock or something, but I've not seen much criticism of it. I think it's a great card, personally. I mean, look, when have we ever seen a fight like Fury Usyk to then have like a great domestic fight like Cordina Kakachi? And then Opataya, obviously, against Myris Bridis. And then the rest is just an added bonus, right? Surely. I mean, I haven't, like I say, I don't really think I've seen much criticism of it myself, but I'm sure there has been, because I know His Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh's come out and said certain bits, Frank Warren has, Dev Sani has, etc. But just firsthand, like you say, reiterate, it just feels like a good point. I can't see this year and next year really not delivering for fans.
Yeah, I mean, Opataya and Bridis, Cordina and Kakachi, Caballel and Sanchez.
Great fight.
They're all those are 3 main events.
But that's fine then. That's all we need, really, friends.
Itauma and Mezanchev, we got Itauma back on there. Isaac Lowe and Amadi.
David,
there's at least 4 main events there. So,
yeah.
Whether they be some of them small hall shows or medium size. No, and let's be honest, Ring of Fire, the majority of the focus will be on Fury and Usyk. It's a once in a 25-year event, so it's enormous.
If we also backpedal to, some of the days where Fury was fighting in the UK, and certainly Joshua with the big stadium sellouts, there was never a great card because they didn't need to put the money into the undercard. And I say never necessarily, but I remember, I think it was AJ Povetkin, and it had Luke Campbell and Ivan Mendy as the co-main event, which didn't end up being a great fight and stuff.
Yeah, but Katie Taylor's been on some of those cards, and
yeah,
they're not bad cards. They're decent.
What I'm saying is
there's a build up, there's a crescendo, isn't there?
The level of these cards in Saudi definitely feels stronger than some of
the. Of course, and it is. There's no, again, that is unquestionable. What they're putting together is unprecedented. It's unprecedented, beyond any shadow of a doubt. The white pheasants are noisy. Can you hear them?
I actually can't, Gareth.
Okay.
Um, Let me ask you about Boxer. Now, Sunday night, a massive success. We understand there's all sorts of certain things going on necessarily behind the scenes that I won't necessarily go into too much. But as a whole, it seems like their year so far has been fairly successful. They go on to have Lauren Price in Cardiff. However, there is this.
Spoke to her yesterday, actually.
Is she good?
Oh, she's amazing. Yeah, she's amazing. She was really on top form. It was really nice to catch up with her. I'm really looking forward to that. Again, that's the emergence of a star, in my view. Star in her narrative, in her storyline. Driving a taxi between the ages of 17 and 20 to make ends meet, brought up by her grandparents, the culmination or the denouement, or the culmination rather of a really long career, very, very athletic person, so gifted, and obviously brought up by her nan, Mamgi, and by her Mamgi in Welsh, and had a fantastic chat with her about that. I'm writing a big piece in the Telegraph Women's Sport on that ahead of her fight. So look out for that one. It's a really good interview. She was great to see.
We will look out for that one, Gareth. I suppose Boxer as a whole, then, they sort of talk about wanting to cooperate with Matchroom, etc. I know that maybe we'll see Boatsiard, although I'm not really too sure where that's at actually. Could do with some chasing on that in the next couple of days. But obviously we saw everything that went on with Fabio and Frazer back in May last year. Now Vidal and Chamberlain looks to be the fight that they're going to do without the belt. But we do know Chev Clarke's been mandated. This isn't something new. It's happened for a while. Azim has now vacated. He's fighting Harlem-Eubank. I actually really like the fight, but I do think it sort of defeats the point fighting someone older than Dalton Smith. Let them have their reasons, whatever. But it just seems like at the minute they're not making the fights and sort of cooperating as such. What do you make of it?
I think you just talked about they are making the fights there, really. I mean, I got caught up in the melee a little bit on Sunday night when Chev Clarke came busting in with some heat. But I think it looks like that Chamberlain and Riley could be the next fight. It's a good fight. It's a really good fight. I mean, Riley was very good. Riley was very good on Saturday night. Used all his boxing skills to win. I thought to show how clever he is fundamentally as a boxer and about his self-belief and his control. And I thought it was a perfectly pitched management of the fight. Isaac Chamberlain was always going to come over to ringside afterwards. He'd even said he was to me earlier in the week, probably had to you, because I doubt he only told me. Chev didn't want to be left out. So he bustled over and it got a little bit heated in there. We all got moved out of the way by the security teams at the time. There were no punches thrown, by the way. Robert Smith was giving it that one. Everyone, come on. Look, there's a couple of fights there that will go on. I think Chev should fight the winner of that. He's very powerful, very capable. Again, he may be the best of all of them. We don't know yet.
Been mandated though, being the point, and this isn't something.
Okay, well, all right. What would you rather see at the moment? Isaac Chamberlain and Vidal Riley, or Isaac Chamberlain?
I like both.
Yeah, exactly.
Put them in any order, and I like.
Who should be fighting Chev though? Who should be fighting him? Should it be Isaac or should it be Vidal?
Just think if he's been mandated for the British, then that would usually be the fight that would be pursued. Maybe I'm.
Well, it might be then, but it might be. Listen, I don't mind. What I don't, if as long as there's an agreement behind the scenes about someone's getting their fight next. If I can't remember, is Chev promoted by Boxxer or not?
No, Chev Clarke's with Matchroom.
Oh, he's with Matchroom. Oh, I see.
So,
yeah. I'd lost that for a minute. Yeah, well, yeah.
I believe Isaac Chamberlain's a free agent right now.
Listen, they should all be working together to make the best fights. If he's been mandated, then follow the line, do that fight first, and then do Chamberlain and Riley next. you know.
What did you think of Azim and Eubank in the ring? Like I say, quite like the fight. It's not the Dalton Smith one that had been mandated though.
Yeah, I don't think Adam Azuma is ready for Dalton Smith. I've said it publicly. I mean, I said it to him. I said, take your time. Spoke to him on Sunday night. Take your time. Don't rush it. You know, he's still a very young man. Dalton Smith's clearly got his man strength now. When you think that Richardson Hitchens, who's facing Gustavo Lemos this weekend in Vegas. Two undefeated fighters, by the way. Gustavo Lemos, 29-0, hasn't fought outside Argentina yet, by the way, in his 30th fight. And Richardson Hitchens, a very skilled fighter, very, very skilled, 17-0. You know, always reminds me of Felix the Cat. Do you remember Felix the Cat? No, it's a long time ago. Felix was a cartoon character when I was around, but he's got that slick look about him. You know, what was parents Haitian, aren't they? But he's grown up in Brooklyn, and he's just slick. He's so slick, like the hair's slick. There's just something slick about him. Like he should have one of your moustaches. But it's a good fight. When you think that Jose Zepeda, I'm staying on this path. Jose Zepeda, I think they went 12 rounds, yeah. And look what Dalton did in 5 against Jose a couple of weeks back. Dalton, as I said to you before, is a man with 2 axes, one here and one there, and that's what he does. He chops you down. We don't know how good he's going to be yet, but he's going to fight at world level. I don't think there's any question about it. And he's almost ready for world level. And he might get Regis Prograis next, and that's a world level fight. So, no, I don't have any dispute with Adam Azim against Harlem Eubank, who's a very skilled fighter. It's good at 10 stone because that's Harlem's best weight. I don't think welterweight is right for him, even though Chris Eubank Sr., who was on Sunday night, wouldn't do any interviews, as you know, although we did speak, wants him to fight Chris Eubank, wants him to fight Conor Benn. I don't think that's a great fight. I mean, I like the fight, but I don't think it's a great fight for Harlem. I think this is a tough fight for Harlem because of Adam's hand speed, but it's a good matchup, and they're doing the right thing. Don't rush anyone. Don't rush anyone until they're ready.
You mentioned Conor Benn. You may have more of an idea than I are. We obviously caught up at the media breakfast for Dalton Smith a week ago today, and the news had just come out that obviously British Boxing Board of Control and UKAD had won their situation there. You said at the time you expect it to go to the court of arbitration, perhaps. I think someone's cleaning the gutters literally outside this window.
Go on, open the window. Open the curtains. Let's have a look.
Maybe not. Maybe not. A lot of noise.
Are you out in the garden or not?
This is like the front area of my house.
Okay.
How
many houses you got now?
Just the one, Gareth.
Okay.
Where is this case? Do you know what the situation is here? Have you heard any more in the last week?
Well, I tried to get Robert Smith to tell me something about it, but he said, "Oh, you're being a bit cheeky here, asking me because I did it live on air," and he walked off. It was the end of the night. No one's commenting, are they? So it's still a sub judice by the look of it. Court of arbitration in sport makes sense if they still want to pursue that jurisdiction argument. But for me, I think as to where they are, he may choose not to fight under a British license. He may choose to fight under a different border control in the UK. For me, the only way to do it now is to go back to the board. They've been all the way around the block, haven't they? They're back at the front door. Go back to the front door, have the hearing based on strict liability, take the rap, and just hope that they don't get 4 years. And that, you know, the Boxing Board of Control and UKAD say, right, we've won our scenario, because they have won this scenario. Boxing's been the winner, and I don't mean that in a negative way towards Conor Benn or his team, but we must safeguard the health of fighters when other boxers have something in their system, rightly or wrongly. If they've got the evidence, put the evidence in front of them, in front of the board, and UKAD, sit around a table, get it through. It's not a quick process, but it's been 18 months, hasn't it? So, or even longer now, maybe 20 months.
Coming up to
20 months.
Yes.
19 months, 19, 20 months. So I think everyone would like to see Conor back. The big fight for him, you see, is Chris Eubank Jr., isn't it? And it's still a big fight. It's a stadium fight. And my understanding is they were really looking at having that big stadium fight in September here.
Yeah.
And obviously with with the outcome of Boxing Water Control and UKAD winning their hearing, it's positioned Conor Benn and his team in a difficult place. But the right things happened for boxing because they did circumvent the system. And I'm not pointing knives at Conor Benn there or Eddie Hearn, but I think they could have handled it differently, as could the board probably as well.
All right, Gareth. Lastly from me, Derek Chisora did an interview with IFL at the weekend, and Coogan says you're always here, as Derek always is, but quite quiet on the scenes of fight news. However, it's revealed that Frank Warren's office have been in touch regarding a potential bout with Joyce. I actually quite like it.
Yeah, that's fine. It's the first I've heard of it. Sorry, I'm kind of I like it, and that's the main event here if they do it here, or again it fits on one of those cards. In Saudi
Arena won that. Do you not think?
Yeah, Wembley Arena. Undercard Wembley Stadium.
Yeah.
It's good. And I see Joe as a big favourite in that.
Okay.
Yeah.
You still think Joe's got a lot to give?
Yeah, I do. But he looks okay against Cash Ali, but Cash Ali didn't come to fight. I think we discussed it. Cash Ali came to survive, but Joe's Joe, and he'll just do his thing. I mean, he's 37 years old now, I think, and
yes,
he's close to the end of his career, but he's probably in the top 20 mix, and that's where he sits right now. But he had a tough year with those two losses to Zhang,
Right, Gareth, I think that wraps us up, my man, for today. We will catch
There's
up.
a Joseph Parker fight for him there as well, probably at some point.
Yeah. I almost feel like that's, I don't know, do you not feel like the Dillian White one for Joseph Parker's a bit?
Oh, no, not right now, yeah. But then I think there's a Joe Joyce fight there as well. Parker will want to right the wrongs of that defeat.
It is, as of speaking to you, it's just hit 12:40, Wednesday, the 3rd of April. This will be up within the next 2 hours. When the people are watching this, what are you going to be doing with your afternoon, Gareth?
I'm going for a 3-hour bike ride.
Well,
there's a little bit of rain forecast. What else am I doing? I've got to write some emails. I have not got any major work on today, but there's always stuff to do.
Always.
I've got a very, very messy desk right now. It was a long weekend. It was a long week, that fight week.
It was a long week.
It was a long week. And it's lived long in the memory, and as it will. So
we don't get bank holidays, Gareth, do we?
I never even know when they are.
Yeah, for real.
And that's been the last 30 years. And it creeps up on you, doesn't it?
All my pals having these 4-day weekends. I'm like, oh, that must be nice. That must be
nice. But when you love your job, it's not it's not like work. So that's why I'm giving up an hour of my time today to chat to you.
Big man thing. Man like Gareth. Thank you for speaking to us on the Stomping Ground.
My pleasure. Have a great day, Charlie.
You too, brother.